The people who know themselves the most often trust themselves the least. Think about that. You spend years trying to become more self-aware. You read books, watch videos, analyze your behavior, reflect on your emotions, and yet somehow, you hesitate before sending a text. You rewrite emails 3 times. You replay conversations from last week while trying to fall asleep. You think about what you should have said, then what you could have said, then what the other person probably thought about what you said. At some point, self-awareness stopped feeling like freedom and started feeling like surveillance. It's as if there's a second version of you living inside your head, watching, judging, evaluating, never clocking out. And the strangest part? You probably call it being thoughtful. But what if it isn't? What if the thing you've been calling self-awareness is actually the reason you feel stuck? Because there's a difference between seeing yourself clearly and staring at yourself endlessly. Most people never notice when they cross that line. One day, you're reflecting. The next day, you're trapped inside a mental hall of mirrors. Every thought reflecting another thought. Every feeling being analyzed by another feeling. Every decision passing through a committee meeting inside your head. Should I say this? Should I not? What if they misunderstand? What if I look stupid? What if I'm annoying? What if I'm wrong? Meanwhile, the moment passes. The conversation moves on. Life keeps moving, and you're still inside your head, holding a meeting that nobody asked for. Sound familiar? Here's something uncomfortable. Many people who struggle with overthinking aren't confused. They're actually too aware of their flaws, too aware of how they're perceived, too aware of every possible outcome. Imagine trying to walk while consciously controlling every muscle in your legs, every movement, every balance adjustment, every step. You'd probably stumble, not because walking is hard, because you're interfering with a process that works best automatically. Now imagine doing that with your personality. That's what excessive self-awareness feels like. You're trying to manually control things that were never meant to be manually controlled. Your humor, your confidence, your creativity, your ability to connect with people. The more you monitor them, the less natural they become. Ever notice how confidence disappears the moment you start checking whether you're confident? Or how conversations become awkward the second you start monitoring your performance? That's not a coincidence. It's a psychological trap. The observer inside your head keeps interrupting the person trying to live. And over time, something strange happens. You begin treating life like a performance. Every interaction becomes an evaluation. Every mistake becomes evidence. Every success gets questioned. Someone compliments you. They probably didn't mean it. Someone laughs at your joke. Maybe they were just being polite. Something good happens. You immediately look for the catch. Because when self-awareness becomes excessive, it stops helping you understand reality. It starts distorting it. And here's where things get really interesting. Most people think the opposite of self-awareness is ignorance. It isn't. The opposite of excessive self-awareness is presence. Presence means you're inside the experience instead of studying it. Think about the happiest moments of your life. The moments that felt completely alive. Maybe it was a late-night conversation that lasted until sunrise. A road trip with friends. A game. A first kiss. A moment of laughter so intense, your stomach hurt. During those moments, were you analyzing yourself? Probably not. You weren't asking whether you looked cool. You weren't measuring your personality. You weren't conducting an internal audit. You were simply there. And that's why the memory feels so vivid. Because you were actually living it, not observing it. But then something changes as we get older. We become increasingly self-conscious, increasingly aware, increasingly concerned about how we're coming across. And without realizing it, we slowly replace experience with observation. We stop participating. We start monitoring. We stop living. We start documenting our existence inside our own minds. It's like carrying a camera everywhere and forgetting to look through your own eyes. Now here's the twist nobody talks about. Excessive self-awareness often disguises itself as self-improvement. It feels productive. It feels intelligent. It feels responsible. After all, you're working on yourself. You're trying to grow. You're trying to understand yourself. But growth and obsession aren't the same thing. At some point, self-improvement can become a sophisticated form of self-avoidance, because analyzing yourself feels safer than living. Analyzing requires no risk. Living does. You can spend years trying to understand why you're afraid of rejection. Or you can risk rejection. You can spend years analyzing confidence. Or you can do something before you feel ready. You can spend years studying connection. Or you can call someone and have an awkward conversation. One path feels safer. The other changes your life. And that's why some of the most self-aware people remain stuck for years. Not because they lack insight, because they have too much of it and not enough action. They know exactly why they hesitate, exactly why they procrastinate, exactly why they feel insecure. But knowledge isn't movement. Awareness isn't transformation. At some point, growth requires leaving the laboratory and entering the real world. And maybe that's the lesson. Self-awareness is a tool, not a home. You were never meant to live inside your own head. You were meant to visit it, learn from it, then return to your life. Because the goal was never to understand yourself perfectly. The goal was to live, to speak before you've crafted the perfect sentence, to try before you're completely ready, to laugh without wondering how you sound, to exist without constantly watching yourself exist. And maybe the greatest irony of all is this: the version of you you've been searching for, the confident one, the authentic one, the free one, the one who isn't trapped in endless self-analysis. That person doesn't appear after one more breakthrough, one more book, one more insight, one more late-night conversation with yourself. They appear the moment you stop treating life like something to analyze and start treating it like something to experience. Because in the end, the people who seem most comfortable in their own skin aren't the people who think about themselves all day. They're the people who forget about themselves long enough to fully live. And maybe that's what freedom really is. Not knowing yourself perfectly, but finally feeling safe enough to stop watching yourself.